This is Pete Feenstra on Thursday the 4th of July for GetReadyToRock.com, talking to the bass icon that is Mr. Andy Fraser.
Yeah,
and I say bass icon, Andy, but you've been doing all kinds of things. You've been producing videos, you've been singing a lot lately, writing loads of songs.
Yeah.
Are you doing now what you wanted to do all those years ago?
Actually, no, life has taken me by surprise.
In many respects.
Yes, many
But
respects.
I was talking musically at this point.
Well, I'm doing exactly what I want, which is moving forward. One of my biggest fears was like being in one of those bands that like you end up playing your hits around the circuit for years and years. And like, so I'm not stuck in the classic rock vein.
No.
I mean, I don't mind it. I like a lot of songs.
You've got a legacy, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, time moves on. It's like the Beatles. Every album is a new challenge.
New challenge. Very good point.
And I tend to think after 40 years reflection, that was maybe one of the things where Paul Rodgers and I came unglued. I mean, a lot of people blame Kossoff's drugs, but I think truly we came unglued. He wanted to do classic rock, and I wanted, man, there's a horizon over there. We could do anything.
But you've also said that if it had still been creative, you'd have still been in the band. But I mean, the band fell apart because of the people in it, I guess. You know?
Yeah. It was a great marriage and a bit of an ugly divorce.
Are you surprised that Free is so still influential nowadays, particularly with new generations of bands?
It is pretty incredible. I mean, it has had staying power, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people say that about classic rock generally, but Free in particular, the power trio thing, albeit you're a four-piece with a singer, but...
It's difficult to be really that objective, but I'm pretty buzzed. The fact that, you know, we still get the kind of...
I want to throw a quote at you. Right? You once said the integrity of art always comes first, and I wonder if that's still possible in today's corporate world.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
And was yours setting up your record company to that end?
Yeah. I mean, looking around at the labels, who just don't know what the fuck they're doing these days. I mean, first of all, they tried to fight off CDs, like hell. Then they made so much money. They tried to fight off the digital thing instead of just moving forward with the time. And I thought, well, if you're going to like lose trillions of dollars messing around, I can do that. Set up my own label, which means I can write a song, do a video, get it out in 2 weeks. And I don't have to deal with some A&R guy telling me, well, I don't think this is right for the kids.
And so who does the production? Who produces Toby's album, for example?
I do.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
We should tell everybody about Toby, who's your kind of protege. A bit of a parallel, because he's about 16, you started at 15.
Yes, indeed. In fact, signed him before he left school.
Right.
And he came over to the States with his dad. And spent 3 weeks, put down his guitar and vocals. Then came back to finish school. Left me to finish the album.
Amazing.
And right after the end of the school, he came back for a 3-month tour. He was picked up at the airport.
Wow.
And, oh, by the way, Toby, we're doing a video tomorrow, so we need to go buy some clothes. But he's pretty laid back, so he just goes with the flow.
How did you get into that sort of music? I guess we'd call it urban R&B, contemporary kind of stuff.
Well, Nick Judge used to play keyboards with me. His wife Jane works here for Toby's parents.
Wow.
She sent me one of Toby's songs. I said, send me another. So that's how it came together.
And suddenly you're an A&R guy. Wow.
So, you know, I recognise his talent. I mean, the guy can write, sing, play, bust a move. I mean, you can't beat that.
Talking about what we are talking about now, contemporary things, what's going on now. Naked and Finally Free is a new album you've got out that some people may not know about yet. Is that a pun on the end there, and free?
Well, the latest one is actually called On Assignment. Naked and Finally Free. I came out maybe about 5 years ago, and in a sense I was sort of dragged out of the closet, if you like. Because I'd gone through a couple of decades of coming to terms with being gay. And that, after being married with 2 incredible daughters, and a great woman, you know, she went off into sort of Hare Krishna land, and I sort of finally sort of came out of self-denial, but it took a long time. And
so it's kind of a concept album almost.
In a sense, well, it was all the press that I died of AIDS.
It was, yeah.
And so, in a
but
sense,
he's definitely here, ladies and gentlemen.
I am, and still kicking.
Rocking, yeah.
And in a sort of sense, it was like a kick up the ass.
Yeah.
Okay,
You've
been saying you're going to release an album, now's the time. So I dragged a bunch of songs together, sort of nipped and tapped the lyrics, make them all fit on the same thing. Here I am not dead, thank you very much.
And it's full of a load of musical styles, it's very diverse. I mean, do you use those different musical styles to express your emotion? You've always said that songs are a way of expressing what you...
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the songs are therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how I get stuff off my chest. And I try not to be constrained by genres or what people expect, or just, and a lot of songs I write just as I'm waking up, they're in my mind.
Wow.
You know, that place where you're
semi-conscious.
Yes, your ego hasn't got in the way yet, and there's a song in my head, and it's like I'm in a studio.
How do you get them down? You just got hum them into a tape.
I run quickly before they disappear, because first of all, I think it's somebody else's song that's already written, because I can hear it clear as a bell. I'm in the studio with familiar people. I hear the lyrics and the groove.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. And I have to quickly run and like put down the basics.
That's the best way, I guess.
Yeah, and quite a few songs have taken me by surprise.
You got one of those songs is called The Big One, which was a brilliant video if nobody's seen it. It's a song about the environment that we all know. But there's a sense of irony there, really, because it's a really weighty, heavyweight song in an era where everything's very disposable. You know, and yet you've had a good response to that song.
Yes.
I mean, obviously a heartfelt subject matter, the environment and everything.
Yes.
But it's a soulful grooves. Again, it's another departure. But is that another kind of musical direction you've been looking into?
I'm open to everything. I'm sort of a bit like the Beatles. I mean, they can do Strawberry Fields Forever or Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
You know,
and the Beatles was an influence on you, of course.
Yeah. That no rules are to be broken.
Yeah.
And so that's how I am with it. I woke up one day with a Christmas song in my head.
Right.
Take Me Home for Christmas. I hate Christmas songs. I think all the Christmas whores come out, and except for like 1 or 2 out of 100, that can be really classy. The rest is just, here, give me some Christmas dollars.
But given the diversity of all your recent output, are you still hoping to drag older fans out to the new music, or are you just aiming at a completely different generation?
I welcome whoever comes.
Yeah. As is going to happen with the gigs you're going to be doing, of course. And you're doing quite a few gigs. It's good to see you touring.
Yeah.
I guess it's your first British tour.
Mainly it's to get Toby out on the road. I mean, he's our first sign into the label, and we thought it would be a good way to go around.
Absolutely,
get it steaming.
And for people my age, you've got Chris Spedding in the band playing guitar. How did you hook up again with Chris? Originally with Sharks, of course.
Yes, and well, I've always liked his playing. I mean, obviously a great player, you know, been with McCartney and everybody, and we always need a second guitarist live, because Toby can do everything in the studio, but you can't play 2 guitars at once.
No.
So we had to get a good second decent guitarist, and Chris came to mind, and he was.
And he's very versatile, of course.
Yes, he can play anything.
Let's go back to your early career. Everybody knows about Free and the reason it broke up and everything. But after that, you joined John Mayall.
No, before.
I beg your pardon, before that. You joined John Mayall when you were 15 or so. Didn't last very long. Was that just because he saw you as an intermediate bass player?
I'm not sure what was in his mind, but I was 15 years old. You know, and he calls up Alexis Corner, who would become my substitute dad.
Right.
And he says, "Hey, Alexis, I need a bass player like tomorrow." I said, "Well, there's this kid that hangs around the house, plays my guitar, says he can play bass." I tend to believe him. So I goes, John Mayall lives around the corner. I goes round there, we play a couple of 12-bar blues, he says, "You're in." So this was a Sunday. Monday, I go tell college, forget about it. We go buy a new bass, new stereo. We have to go to court. He swears up and down, I'm going to be in bed by 8 o'clock, and you know he's going to be my.
Unbelievable.
And then Tuesday we're in Amsterdam. choking up all the weed.
And I guess Mick Taylor's in the band then as well.
Yes, right.
So were you intimidated by the rest of the band members, some of whom must have been double your age, I guess?
Not really intimidated. I thought it was I was open to learn.
Yeah.
I thought I can learn from these people.
Yeah.
I related best to Mick Taylor.
And you were a classically trained musician as well,
yeah,
so that would have helped.
Yeah. I mean, there was 12-bar blues. I mean, basically, John Mayall would say, key of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you know,
yeah,
you can handle that.
Yeah. So you said moving on to that from Free, you said of Free that you sort of sought a sense of family in Free. Was that because you were looking for structures in your life at the time?
Maybe. It's a bit like a gang or a commando troop.
Yeah.
You know, you've all got each other's backs, and we just had a particular combination where we were all strong enough to keep each other in check.
Right.
Very important.
Very important, very difficult.
and challenge each other. And
which is why the music was so vibrant.
It was a magical combination. I mean, Kossoff, Rogers and me are such different personalities, and somehow Simon managed to be
shape it all up.
the thing that
force.
Yes, and he could understand 3 arguments and find a way to bring them together.
But given that you did have a sense of family, or you sought that, was Koss just too far gone for anybody to rescue him from where he was going?
Oh yeah. I'm not until the end, but by the end he was way too far gone. In fact, me and a road manager went round to his house one time. It was like I had 500 junkies on the floor. We stepped over them. Kossoff was upstairs, completely out of his mind.
Yeah.
We literally carried him to my car and drove him down to Woking, Surrey, where I live, and held him there for 3 days trying to reach him. And in the end, we just gave up, and we just had to take him back, and it felt like the biggest failure in my life.
And looking back at the materials, one question I wanted to ask you, I'm sure you've been asked it 100 times, the bass solo on Mr. Big. Probably wasn't until years later that everybody went, wow, that was kind of groundbreaking and innovative. How did that come about? Because it was the first real bass solo, you know. Well,
the song sort of wrote itself. We were all around in my bedroom at my mum's house, actually. And we were, I think Simon started, we went, dum, 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 dum. I said, do that again. Let me try that.
Yeah.
So we started that, and I costed the riff, and Paul came in with some vocals. And by the time we got to the middle bit and didn't know where to go, I'd been sort of, you know, when you get stuck on an album, I got stuck on Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul.
Oh, really?
And there's I think, the 3rd song. The bass player just goes off. I thought, wow, I didn't know you could do that. I'm going to do that. So
I've only got a limited amount of time to do this, so we'll move along quickly. But moving to Sharks, I'll also talk about that because
we can move real quick on that.
Now you've said that was a mistake at the time, and yet First Water, the first album, was very well received.
Well, it was a mistake because really what I should have been doing, I intended to get my voice together. I'd become
and you were going to be the singer, presumably.
Yeah, I'd gotten to where I was a good writer, but my singing wasn't good enough for the song, and I needed to work on it, and that's what I was doing. And then I got surrounded by those guys, and somewhere along the line someone said, oh, maybe Andy's voice isn't strong enough, and in came Snips, who I didn't get on with at all. It was just wrong. It wasn't what I should have been doing. And when Chris Bedding drove the Sharkmobile into a tree, 5 miles an hour going round a roundabout, and I broke my thumb. So I think it's best you get another guy, you know, because this is going to be a while.
So sometime after that you moved to the States and you developed your songwriting in particular. Let me ask you, before that, all your songs, if they weren't all autobiographical, they certainly came from the heart and they expressed. Did you find that a different challenge to write for other people, which you then started to do?
Well, although it appears I wrote for other people, I wrote them all for myself, and they just wanted to do them.
Wow, so they're interpreting your songs?
Yeah. I'm not the sort of guy you can call up and say, Diana Ross is a song by Tay AM. Ain't going to happen. No. So actually, they were all written for me.
But you had some considerable success with those songs, and that must have boosted your confidence going over there and then being seen as a songwriter as much as a bass player.
Yeah.
And so to square the triangle, I guess you worked on your singing after that.
Yes, I did.
Which kind of, when you came out as being gay, was there any resistance in the musical community other than
not really, because I think if I had come out during Free, I think it would have really knackered the band.
Different era.
Completely.
Different era, yeah.
This time it was like really no big deal, and in a sense, people prefer honesty. I mean, reporters love if you lie and they can catch you out.
For sure.
But if you say,
work on that.
if you just like upfront about it, oh, you're no fun, so we'll move on to the next. You know.
Yeah, and very personal question. I realise that, but apparently you thought about suicide, which is a desperate thing.
Yeah.
What brought you back?
Because in my mind, I went through all the stages of what I needed to do. I studied all the medications you needed to get from different doctors, and I'd set about my will and sorted everything out and got right to the end where I was gone, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, what did that accomplish? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
So that was the turning point.
And what was the actual point when you realised you could come back and play again, which is what we all want to see? And form a band.
Well, I guess the reports of me being dead was the impetus that, like, okay,
would be to anybody. Yeah.
Right. So we get that album out, we start a label, and that was the impetus, I think. Right.
And then you thought you'd bring everything in house, the label, the videos.
Yeah.
And of course you've got your daughters working on the videos.
Oh yes, and we've got our first movie in the works. Dial up tearsofAmermaid.com and you can see the trailer.
Okay, Andy, and do you want to tell everybody again what the new album's called?
On Assignment. You just go to mactracks.com and to your heart's content you can get all the new material, videos, Toby, all the latest news, mactracks.com, MCTRAX.
It's been Pete Feenson for GetReadyToRock.com. Thanks to Adrian on the camera, Andy Fraser on my left.
Pleasure.
Absolute pleasure talking to you. Come out and see the tour. It's going out in the next few weeks, all over Britain, and hopefully with the start of more to come.
Oh.
Great. Good afternoon.